Productions, the Cultural Preservation Station. Tune in. Tune in. Hey yo. Black education, cultural preservation, Taylor BEETV, because elevation. Tune into the station, we rockin' the whole nation. That's right, we rockin' the whole nation, prepping new generation for mental activation. Taylor BEETV's the new sensation. Stop the hesitation and learn something new. My girl Taylor B's here to show and prove.
Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Welcome to BTV. I am your host, Queen B, and this is the Hip Hop Hour. I want to thank you so much for being here. If you're new to the channel, thank you for subscribing. Make sure you like the video and make sure you share the video. So without further ado, we're going to bring our guest on for Hip Hop Hour, Montana Blak. Peace, King. How are you?
Peace, Queen. Peace. How are you? I am great. Thanks for having me.
Good, good, good. Thank you so much for being here on Hip Hop Hour. It's a pleasure to have you here. You know what
It
I
is
mean? You're in,
be
yep.
here. What you're doing is amazing, and I commend you on the work that you are doing. You're preserving the culture, and it's just dope to see you doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And we've known each other for a while now. You're from Philly, you're from North Philly. So tell us about that. Tell us about growing up in North Philly. Tell us about how your upbringing in North Philly has really influenced your music and and influenced the way you tell your stories.
Well, what I can tell you is that being a have-not, being poverty-stricken in North Philly, um, the middle child of 6 brothers and sisters, growing up my mother was a squatter. We grew up in an abandoned house in North Philly, like no
Mhm.
electric, no heat, that long extension cord to get electric from down the street. You know what I'm saying? Like it influences everything that I do, because I know that there's probably somebody in the shoes that I was in during that time now. And what I want to do is just help them see their way through it.
Yeah. Yeah, you really do that. You really exhibit that, from what I've known ever since I've known you. I've always seen you being very proactive and face forward when it comes to like independent artists and making sure they have a platform and they have different venues to really show their talents. So talk about that. Talk about your drive for that and how you really talk about some of the things that you've done in the past in the city and all that.
So one of the biggest things that I've done was the Philly Jam concert series. The Philly
Mhm.
Jam concert series ran from 2002 to about 2010. And it was all independent artists. We didn't use headliners. Everybody that was on the Philly Jam concert series was striving to be an independent, an indie, interdependent artist. We've had the likes of Reef the Lost Cause. We've had Big Lou. We've had DJ J Ski, the group Bungie from Jersey, like all these big independent artists, and we all collaborated and created a community to where, as though we put 2,000 people in Club Polaris at 9th and Spring Garden. And one of the
Mhm.
biggest things that I think um, it was a failure on my part is when Spitich was killed. Spitich was a Hollow legend. He was from the Hollow, and he was supposed to perform on the Philly Jam concert the night that he was killed. And
Mhm.
had he been there, he would be alive today and probably be one of the biggest stars from Philadelphia, because he was definitely on his way to do that. So that's what I wanted to be able to create, this platform to where we weren't out on the streets doing any of the dumb stuff that we was used to doing. We was being productive as creatives. With the Philly Jam concert, that was my aspirations for it. So when I after I did that, then I started doing the My Mic Mondays at 12th and Race, where I wanted to give artists, again, another platform where they can come express their talents and also get the information that they would need to arm themselves in this war in hip hop so that they can keep control of their own music.
Mm.
And then, after that, everything started to go digital. I still wanted to be able to give artists the information as far as making sure that they had their records embedded in the metadata with the ISRC codes, making sure that they had their performance right organizations in accordance to what they wanted to accomplish, whether you was with BMI or ASCAP or CSAC, which you actually have to be invited to be on CSAC. But all of the performance right organizations and making sure that they had a sound exchange and that they weren't using the TuneCore ISRC codes, that they was able to obtain and own their own codes and create their own codes like I do. Music. And I just wanted to, just equip the artists within my circle, and hopefully we will be able to spread that and create a bunch of indies where the labels were, obsolete, because that's the direction that the music was moving in. Once I saw Tower Records shut down on South Street, I knew it was going to be over for the CD, right? And we was moving into this digital era where it was
which RZA prophesized with Bobby Digital.
Bobby Digital.
Go ahead.
and
I had to throw that in there.
I'm an avid Wu-Tang listener, and he was giving me that information while I was listening to him, and me.
He told us it was coming,
and me seeing it, right? Yeah. And somebody said something to me the other day when I was in the studio. He said the problem with the black man is that we're capable of seeing the future, but there ain't nothing that we can do to change it. And I was just like, wow, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I said that in one of my rhymes. I said I can see the future because I ain't stuck on no past tense. So I ride clean. I'm past tense, right? So it's like, yeah, you're right. We can see it, but I feel as though there is something that we can do to change it by staying in constant communication with the generation that's coming after us.
Yes.
So if we
stay passing that knowledge down,
and passing that knowledge to them. And that's what, even when it comes to my own son, right? One of the reasons I started rapping is because I seen the future. Both of your uncles are in prison for homicides. Your uncle on my side is a career criminal. I did my fair share of street activity, and I have to intervene on my son. So I started rapping and posting posters around his school, posting and aiming all of my music at him so that he would follow me and not some other person that he thought was influential. I wanted to be the influence over my own son, which happened to make me an influence over the city by, I'm not going to say accident, but it was purely by chance. That wasn't my intention. My intention was just to influence my own son.
And sometimes that's what it is, right? Sometimes when we embark on different things, it's really just to solve a problem that's within yourself.
That's it.
And within your own circle or whatever. And that can affect the world, because and that just goes to show you that we're all connected, that all is really one. Because
absolutely 600
you know what I'm saying? Your problem is what somebody else is also going through. You know what I'm saying?
And which I stated in the beginning of this interview is that I'm pretty sure that there's some young male going through the same things that I went through as a child, and having to help feed his brothers and sisters and learning how to navigate without a male in the house. Because not only, when it came to my son's friends, I was kind of that male figure as well. So, when I bought him his studio and he was coming to the studio and he bring his friends, they looked at me the same way that my son did, and that was just one of the things that came with the territory.
Right. Right. So it's really, you start with your son, and then it extends out into the community, and then you're building that nation up,
it did.
With the right, morals and goals and different things like that. At least knowledge of what to do. So let's get back on topic with the industry. So we talked about the digital age evolving. So like, how did you actually, evolve yourself during that time? Did you go ahead and study up on what you needed to do? Because I know you came from an interesting era, where you come from that era where it was still like the golden age.
Right. We was
and then
selling
you
CDs out of
bridge,
the trunk.
yes, you bridge right in to this new age, right? So talk about that evolution and talk about where you were at the time and how you kind of, what did you do to get through that?
So once the transition started happening from, I you kind of could see it coming from the tape deck to the vinyl to the 8-track and then all the way up to the CD. What's going to come next? The MP3, right? So the MP3 and the streaming, my biggest issue with that was the labels getting in bed with the streaming platforms by selling them the right to be able to stream the music and pay the artist minimal, which is 0.003% of a penny for your stream, which was a huge problem for me because, a million records sold at a dollar a share equals $1 million for an artist, even after, you're selling the record for $16, $17, the artist is still capable of making $1 million off of selling 1 million records. But now with these streams,
Right, with the physicals,
you're making $4,000, right?
right.
So because the physical copy is a different royalty from the performance royalty, which is considered a stream. And understanding that, like, nobody gave me the game. I had to kind of, like, when I learned how to do a copyright or when I learned how to do a trademark, none of this stuff was given to me. You have to make those mistakes. And when you was filling out that copyright form, if you sent it in and it was wrong, they keeping the money that you paid for, and you got to do it again and pay for it again.
Right.
So you got
That's
to
the
learn.
game, and that's the real game, right? That's the real game, right? Go ahead, King.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Exactly.
That's okay.
That is exactly the real game right there.
Yeah.
So after learning that my mistakes is going to cost, I did my practicing prior to putting my money on the line. So once my money got on the line, I had to be precise and exact, right? So I had to do a business plan, a comprehensive, and learn the risk and learn to mitigate those risks and learn to, not, how can I say it? And learn to understand what was at stake, right? And then you had to learn the how to understand the flow of money and different things. So, I kind of went corporate, got a job at a financial institution, and just wanted to understand all of the aspects of the business that I was getting into of music, because a lot of people, they lead with the emotion of the creative side, of the artist side, and really leave the business side to somebody that's not going to be looking out after your best interests, which is not a good model to follow, in my opinion. So
I know that's your opinion, number 8. Go ahead.
yes. Yes. So to get back to what you were saying, as far as how did I navigate that, was to at least try to stay one step ahead. Like what I'm seeing artists doing now, a lot of artists is getting into their promoter bag, right? And they're using other artists to promote themselves by putting artists, and we come from that. You get a group of artists, put them on the stage and put your name on it as a presenter, and then you push your name and push their name at the same time. It's already been done. You got to be more innovative than that.
Yeah.
So now is the time to be innovative and move us forward. But what I'm seeing is the cycle. I'm seeing more of the cycle and more of the transitioning into the cycle and following that hypnotic rhythm of what has already taken place, right? So it's just like, yeah, but what comes after that? We got to get to that part. Once you get to the part that comes after the part and see the part that comes after the part of what everybody else already did. Everybody already did that. What are they going to do next? And then do that.
Right. To be innovative.
So to be completely honest, I have songs on a hard drive that I recorded in 2011 that I couldn't put out in 2011 because nobody would have been ready for them. But right now, everybody's in that frequency and they're ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
But now they can have it. So that's where the album The Factory came from. And the album The Factory is a USB album.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on streaming platforms. It's not a CD. It's not on streaming platforms. It's a physical copy. And I made more money off that album. Like an artist can get 10,000 streams and only make $45. I've made over $1,000 selling that album. So already. And that's
Right.
more than artists making on their streams.
Right. So I think that's smart. I think that is innovative. And I think right now you do have to kind of have a out of the box visionary type of
Yeah.
face forward model for the way that you're gonna deliver your music now, especially for independent artists, because of the just nature of the way the game is now too. um you know in a way, it's like there are still some record deals out there, like distribution deals, but you got to even be careful with that because they're still trying to take your masters and trying to take your publishing. um so I think, for the independent artists, they really have to be smart in the way that they set their model up.
Absolutely.
So I think that you hit a great point there. And I think the hybrid model for me, for what I've seen, has really worked well, for the people that I know, for artists that I know,
Mhm.
that are doing it, that are independent. And these are big artists, and it's just more advantageous, but it's just going to be the drive that you put into it. Like you said, it's what effort are you putting into it, and what level, and are you and marketing yourself in a certain way. So
So
I
this
think you've
the
been able to do that. And go
just to be a little transparent,
ahead.
I've moved into this apartment 6 years ago, and now I'm moving into a house, right? So I'm
Okay.
I'm packing up, moving out of here. And
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you.
Hmm.
But the thing and again, you know, I had a house 11 years ago, right?
Hmm.
11 years ago, I bought a house, a $250,000 house on Lincoln Drive, right? Um,
The most dangerous street in Philly. Go ahead.
if you don't know how to drive, I've been on Lincoln Drive two
That
times.
too, but a lot of people don't know how to drive, so that's the whole point. So
Right,
you
Lincoln
could be safe
Lincoln
on there, but
Drive.
you around a
Lincoln
bunch of
Drive is
dummies.
not for
Yeah,
beginners.
that's the
If,
point.
if you're learning how to drive, stay off of Lincoln Drive.
Right.
It's
Don't even try it.
don't even try it. Don't even try it. But one thing about living back there was nice and peaceful and quiet. There's no reason to be standing back there, right?
Hmm.
So, you know, that was a mistake though, because that's not how you go about buying a house. If you want to,
Hmm.
because housing is a bank game, right? It's a bank product. A house is a bank product, which most people don't understand, that it being a bank product, it usually winds up being back owned by the bank. So,
Yes.
right. So,
One foul move and it ain't yours no
and it
more.
ain't yours no more. So you want to
So do we
use something,
own
you want to do
anything in
something,
America?
use
But
something
I
called
digress. Go
OPM,
ahead. I
right? OPM,
digress.
you want to use other people's money when you're buying a house. So it's best to
Hmm.
buy a duplex before you buy a house.
Okay.
Right. So that's the strategy that I'm applying to that. Just like the strategy I applied to music, and even doing those shows, I would get small business sponsors. I would mainly put up majority of my own money, right? But I would also get local business sponsors like Omega Optical on Stanton Avenue, or Double Connect at on Fifth and Alany, and like a lot of the bigger shows that I've thrown, I had local businesses sponsor those shows along with the artists that were on the show. Now it's up to us to capitalize off of these platforms, right? Even when it comes down to streaming, to capitalize off of those platforms. Did I leave the L out of my name? I mean, the 3 out of my name and put a hashtag?
You always do something with that
Yeah,
that
I don't
letter
know.
or that symbol right there. It's
It's
either a
fine.
3, a backwards B, or a
Yeah,
hashtag.
yeah.
It's okay. It's all good. We know it is. It's
I
Montana
just I
Blak.
just noticed that.
Montana Black's in the house, y'all, on Hip Hop Hour.
What up?
If
What
you
up? What
if
up?
you're
What up?
just tuning in, welcome to BTV. Please, peace, peace. Go ahead,
I just
King.
think it's like as an artist right now, you have to be more innovative. They say you need for one
Yes.
song, you need at least 100 pieces of content
Yes.
for one song. That's a lot of work for
Mm-hmm.
one record. If you got 12 records on your album and you need 100 pieces of content, and you don't use the same content to promote one song, you use different pieces of content to promote your song and your album and continuously make content, right? And so that you can push your engagement out. Um, that's just one strategy.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming a content creator. And
Mm-hmm.
then, like what we're doing right now is like I'm on BTV on your platform, and you have a nice gathering of followers. And that's also further pushing, I get to be in front of them. So it's the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
That's I'm very appreciative to be able to be on your platform. And when I was doing my podcast, I did the same thing. I had Judah on my podcast as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to be able to give to the artists around. And I appreciate the brand representation that you're wearing tonight.
Yeah, we about to get into it. We're about to get
Okay.
into that. You know
Okay.
what I mean? You know what I
But
mean?
it's just with me, and I know I like to talk a lot. Um,
You good?
I like to strategize when it comes to business and music and sit down and actually have a plan of attack
Mm-hmm.
where you might have some artists that we not at the point where we can drop an album and not tell nobody. We
Right.
can't.
Right.
The
Yeah,
market,
you have to market it.
you have to have a rollout, a pre-marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Like you can't put something in a store and nobody know it's there and expect to sell it.
Right. Right. And
So
nowadays it's not even a store, it's an online store.
right,
So
that's
people,
exactly what I mean. When I say
yeah,
store, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the online store. I
right.
tell artists all the time, get your own website.
Mm-hmm.
Have your own website. Stop directing people to other places because we're not in the music business no more. We're in the data business.
Right.
Collect that customer data so that you can do direct to consumer marketing.
Right.
You have to have some type of what is it called, system where you're collecting the data to your customers, where you can directly market to them, wish them a happy birthday, and let them know that your album is dropping, or that your
Mm-hmm.
next episode is dropping, or whatever it is. Like you got to be able to market directly to the consumer and offer something of value. That's
Facts.
that's basically it, in my
Facts.
opinion.
So let's talk about Union 215.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. So talk about Union 215 and what is it and how long ago, what year did you start it? And tell us about the motivation behind it.
Harriet Tubman was the motivation behind it.
Okay.
Union 215 stands for United National Interdependent Organizational Network. The
So
215 is the area code of Philadelphia, but they said Harriet Tubman freed over 300 slaves, and she would have freed more had they known she was
they
slave.
were
Had they known they
slaves.
were slaves. So I
Yeah.
figured, all right, even if I get 215 minds freed, it might not, representing the frequency of the city that I live in,
Mhm.
215. So I just wanted to combine the two. And that's where I came up with Union 215, because I wanted to free minds and have free thinkers and people that was able to see past the veil in the corporate shenanigans, past the games, and the way that they keep us, the system keeps us from moving forward by separating us from the older and the youth. And you had the East and the West Coast battles, and we've seen the results of that, right? So it's just like, all right, divide and conquer. We know that play already. We already know that play.
Mhm.
So if and I had put together this group, the cartel, and I told them, I said, listen, when we get moving, everybody is going to try to come between us. They're going to say that you're better than him and he's better than you and she's better than all of us. And everybody's going to try to separate us when they see us moving in accord to accomplish our dreams. We can't allow that to happen. If that happens,
same old story. Yeah.
and it happens every single time. Somebody gets to thinking that they're bigger than the situation and everything falls apart.
Yeah.
Or they can get more money than the rest of us. But if we move together, we'll get a lot further. And that was the concept behind Union 215 with the entire city, because we're broken up into these silos and everybody thinks that they're further ahead. But if I can be in the same room that you're in, I've never been in the room with Jay-Z. If I can be in the same room that you in, and then I'm gonna tell y'all this: if your couch is on the wall, you ain't made it yet. If the back of your couch is up against the wall, you ain't made it yet. Rich people don't have
well, mine's is not, so.
So you might be richer than a lot of other people.
I'm just joking. But it's not though.
Yeah, real trap. But everybody in the hood, the back of your couch is probably against the wall. Right. So
I never heard that before, but
yeah, but
yeah, that's cool.
You see it though, right?
Yeah, I can. I'm mentalizing it right now. Yeah.
When the back of your couch is up against the wall, you ain't made it yet.
All right.
So a lot of us want to put out that persona, but if you realize why we love Michael Jackson, why we love Biggie Smalls, why we feel the way we feel about Tupac, but in my opinion, when Tupac's first album dropped, he was already at his apex. He was at his best. From Strictly for My Niggas all the way to Machiavelli, Tupac didn't get no better than the first album. But when you look at Michael Jackson, you look at Biggie Smalls, we got to watch them grow as artists, and we fell in love with them on that travel while they was getting better. And Biggie, did 2 albums? And we loved him because you saw his growth when he did that song with Bone Thugs and Harmony. You saw the growth in his flow. You saw the maturity in his lyrics, right? And we fell in love with him for that. The same reason we fell in love with Michael Jackson, watching him grow up in the music industry. So when you get to watch something grow, don't come out and pretend to be rich. Let us see you grow.
Right. Right.
And let us fall in love with you as in your journey. But everybody want to come out, they super gangster, they super pimping, they super rich, they everybody
trying to floss and show off on each other.
Right.
Anyway.
On some nan. You ain't got these. And that's not how we're going to get to where we're going.
Right. That's not how we're going to advance anything. Right.
Not how we're going to advance anything.
Right.
You know, like I'm far from rich. But I'm nowhere near broke.
Right.
Far from rich, but I'm nowhere near broke.
Right.
and you know, that's just the long and short of it with me.
So talk about Code World and Man Code. You know, I got the hoodie on.
Yes.
This is the female version of Code World, but it's Man
Well,
Code.
it's a female version of Man Code, right? So in order for a man to enter a woman's world, he has to know the code, or you're not getting into her world. I know guys that holler at a woman from across the street, hey, shorty, yo, what up, babe? Hey, and she just keeps on walking, right? She don't even turn around, she don't acknowledge you. You ain't got the code, bro.
That's definitely not the code.
Yeah, that's definitely not the code. If you don't run down on it and make her feel like you're putting in some effort and absolutely like you're trying to go about it the easy way. So you expect her to all right, say you dial 10 digits in your phone, right? To a number you've never dialed before. And you start talking like, hey, what's up? What you doing tonight? What's going on? That's a cold call. And that's what you're doing when you're yelling at that woman from across the street. You're making a cold call, brother.
I like that analogy.
Right? You're trying to get her attention, making this. She don't know you. You don't know her. You never met, but you feel something. So you have to be who you really are and create a moment that's going to be memorable to her to where as though she may crack that door open to see what you got to say.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to know the code.
Wow.
And that's the whole concept behind code world when it comes to women. But man
Mm-hmm.
code is also is once you get in that door and she allows you to do whatever you do, she might allow you to take a video of her while y'all in bed. You don't go and show that video to your man. You breaking the man code now, bro. That video, she let you do that in confidence between y'all secret, between you and her. And now you
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, look at this. I had her doing this, that, and the third. Bro, you breaking the man code now, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can dig it. I mean, that's on point because that happens a lot. Different things like that, and just different things with the way that we interact with each other in general. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So
right.
yeah,
And that's why the barcode is on there, because these type of things can't be bought and sold. Like this is
right,
something you either was bred in or you grew up getting this from your elders. You can't buy it. You can't go to the supermarket and get this.
right.
Right. So it's not for sale. You got it or you don't. You got it or you got it or you don't got it. And the guys that be, she's sending you pictures of her topless and you showing your homeboy, you ain't got it, man.
Right,
You ain't got the code, bro. Like that was just for your viewing pleasure.
right.
Like me personally, I have never sent a picture of the purple pickle. That's just something I don't do. That's my code, and other guys might have a different code. Cool,
Right, right.
but as far as
All
me,
right,
you're not going to see my weapon until I'm using it.
right,
That's just how I was bred.
right. So, that's dope because it gives, people something kind of positive to look forward to and something to kind of, you know, some morals to stand on,
Exactly, exact. Some type of code.
Yeah.
We have to have some type of code. If not, then it's just like a bunch of moralless, mindless animals doing whatever to whoever, whenever.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to keep the code. And
Yeah.
that was my whole, that was my whole mindset. And like I don't try to be, I live my life under a certain rule, under certain rules, and it's worked for me so far. Like I think I experienced really great karma, and the reciprocity of situations that come to me, I always land on my feet. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna keep doing it the way I'm doing it.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with karma. And all that is just what you put out is what you get back. So,
Exactly.
that
As
just says that you're doing the right thing and that's good because that means you're not dealing with a lot of drama coming back to you. So that's what's up.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I try to keep everything peace, and if
Yeah.
it costs me my peace, then that means it's too expensive.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you were saying earlier that you wanted to get into the business world and the corporate world so you could learn more about the business, the finance, and the part of if hip hop, right?
Hmm.
So like how important has that been for you?
The financial aspect has
Mhm,
been pretty much the most important aspect, especially when it comes to the music world, right?
mhm,
Because that it's intellectual property.
mhm,
The music that's being created, and a lot of people feel as though the music should be free, it should be something, but it's intellectual property. Even though to me it is a Polaroid. You can find a song about any emotion that you've probably felt throughout your entire lifetime. You can
mhm,
find that song, and the song is
mhm.
going to either help you through that hard time or give you the tenacity to even stand tall through that, right?
Right.
So without that person creating it, I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me like, yo, this album or this song right here, I felt that I was in that place. I was in that spot. So to me, music helps us to travel through time. It can
Mhm.
put you back into a space that you remember growing up. It can move you into the future. It can shift your mood and energy from one place to another. Right? It is a very powerful tool when used in its proper mechanics.
Mhm.
All music. And people like, oh, these kids today ain't saying nothing. They is saying something. They might be saying they in pain or they tired of
Mhm.
the bullshit that they've been dealing with. And you
Right.
thinking like, and they caught in the net of something that they feel as though they can't find their way out of because maybe we as the elders failed them. We told them what they're doing is cool. We told them that we did it too and it's okay when we should have been disciplining them more verbally over these songs
Mhm. Mhm.
and giving them the proper tools and guidance that they need. But we didn't do that. We smoked blunts and we talked about our guns and we talked about how much disrespectful we can be to the our women. Guess what we did?
Then a lot of us got locked up too. A lot of men
A
got
lot of us
locked up
went to
too.
jail, and then guess what? The
Yeah,
one,
or died.
and then they got
Mhm.
rewarded after they went to jail. So we thought that was the path that we needed to take
Mhm.
because I've seen this on my own in my own life where we'll throw parties for guys that's going into jail, but the
Mm.
person going off to get further education is just all right, man, I'll catch you later. There's no party.
Mm.
There's no celebration. Or you'll get 100 likes on I got the job, but you'll get no likes on started that new business.
Right.
So it's like our priorities are wrong. So what do we expect from the generation that comes after us? If our priorities and what we deem as progress is wrong, what could you possibly expect from the people that's coming behind us? And
Right.
then we blame them? That's not cool. It's not their fault. We got to have some
Yeah.
accountability here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it starts with ourselves, it starts with the way that we handle ourselves and the way that we present ourselves. Especially women, and that's why I have the queens up, because it's like, what are you doing? Women have a unique position in the community, in a nation, where they're the ones that teach that next generation
I
as
think the biggest
mothers first.
mechanism you got.
Even though I'm big on the family unit, queens and kings up, I'm big on both. But the mother is the one, even when the father's there, the mother is the one that teaches. The mother's the one that transfers that knowledge to the
Where does
child
she get the lessons from?
from the man, of course. Like,
Exactly.
from
From
that's
as
what
a,
I'm saying.
as an
You ain't
order.
got no argument with me there, brother. That's why I said my whole thing is queens up, kings up nation
Yes.
culture, to drop baby daddy, baby mama culture.
That
And the
come
reason
from.
and the reason why I say that, and I'm gonna touch on that, and the reason why I say that too is because, if we look at ourselves now, as Black Americans, the reason that we know who we are, and we're one of the most people that we can trace our lineage back.
Hmm.
You can trace back to the 1870 census or before. You know,
We can go back further.
you yeah, go. I know further than that, but I'm saying that for a specific purpose. But what I'm saying is to even go back further than that is to show you that we were able to do that through marriage a lot of the times,
Hmm.
because of marriage records that were kept. That's
Hmm.
how we can go back to see who we were, because we had marriage records. We had the same last names as our fathers, as a
Hmm.
head of household. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, and now, when you look at it, how would a genealogy family tree look now with today's um dynamic of the way the family is? You know what I mean? When you go back into
Disenfranchised.
do your genealogy, you see your tree, and you see the mother and the father, the grandfather and the grandmother, the great and the great, and you see them both. Now, what would you look at? 1,000 trees with 1,000 baby daddies on it, with all different last
Branches.
names. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't trace it because they don't got no daddy. It's just crazy. It's like, or you're not recording the daddy, or you do record the daddy, but then okay, the daddy's on child
Why
support, and now the daddy's not in the child's life. So that's my whole thing. That was my whole thing
family
with
Bibles are so
Kings
important.
Up. Yeah,
Having a family
it's the
Bible.
family unit. Period. Like to us, to me, that's our way to Black liberation.
Okay.
Like it's getting back to the family unit. Period. Everything else don't matter. Because once you start doing that, then your morals and your values start to change because that's what you prioritize.
You know they selling houses with no dining rooms now? Because what you're saying is
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
right. The
Yeah.
fast food has taken away the family time over dinner, which is
Hmm.
corrupting the family unit because we're not sitting down at the table no more and having dinner with the family.
Yeah, well, they've gone a step further with that within the Black nation of corrupting the family unit. So, and then you asked why is it like that? It's because of just the dynamic and the stereotype that has been forced upon everybody, the conditions we've been forced into just to survive. Through feminism, through the welfare state, through all of them kind of things. This
Mhm.
is what destroyed the family unit through the effemination of the Black man. So there's a different
Mm.
plethora of reasons to why we're like this.
It's layered.
Doesn't help that hip hop, now we on the hip hop show, doesn't help that hip hop,
Has
perpetrates it.
influence. Yeah.
Yeah, it perpetrates it. And but we know that, I don't know if our artists would still rhyme like that and talk about those things if they weren't being paid to talk about the most ignorant thing that they could be
Right.
talking about.
That's exactly what
You
was
see what I'm saying?
you look
So
at
this is what I'm saying. We
it.
don't own our resources. We don't own anything that's our culture, so we are susceptible to um you know having
Influence.
the ideology of someone else enforced on us.
Mhm.
So through the music, through that way, and then through other systemic things that have happened to the Black family in general throughout history. You know what I'm saying? So this is why it's like that. You know what I mean? So
So
that's why.
I wanna make this point though,
Hmm.
is that everything, and I mean everything that has been sent to destroy us, we still stand.
Of course, they can't. How can you can't destroy the original, man?
Everything.
That's not even a secret.
Nothing has been
They
successful
know it's not a secret. That's why they keep
in
doing stuff.
destroying us.
Yeah,
Nothing
that's why they
has been
keep doing it
successful.
because they know they can't. So they're trying
It's
anything.
like trying to
Yeah.
extinguish the sun.
Hmm.
Imagine the sun being extinguished. That's what it's like. It'll
Hmm.
never happen.
Right.
It'll never happen. There is no weapon formed and nothing that will be able to stop us.
Right.
Nothing. Not
Except
physically,
ourselves. We can stop
except
ourselves, and that's
ourselves.
the problem.
And
And that's
and
the problem.
there's a Judas in every situation that is going to
Absolutely.
destroy the situation,
Hmm.
especially when there's progress being made.
And that's why you got to know your energy. That's why you got to know your energy. You know
You
what I mean?
have
That's why you got to get with people like me, astronumerologists, that can help you with your energy
you're a
and your
numerologist?
frequency. Of course.
I did
Yes, I
not know
am.
that. I did not know.
I'm an
And I learned
astronumerologist.
an astro numerologist.
Yes.
So do you know my life path number? I can tell you. It's a number 9.
Okay, well, if you're gonna tell me, then you're gonna tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a number 9, which
Okay.
is, you know, um
So tell me how you got to that since you know it so much.
adding up my birth date.
The whole birth date. Okay. So
Over.
you did that. You knew that right.
Yeah.
Okay. My life path is a 9 too. So do you know what that means? That means you're here to be inspirational,
Yes.
brotherly, universal, a
Yes.
humanitarian.
Yes.
You're here to, you're global minded, you're here to be organized, motivational. You're
Well,
here
hence
to be
hence the
broad
organization
minded, learn
effort.
not to be narrow minded.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I'm
So, yeah.
definitely open to other ideas and other
Mhm.
creative minds and energies that are moving forward to make progress. This is why I
Mhm.
am very honored to be on BTV on the Hip Hop Hour with the Queen Bee.
Thank you, King. And then, so since you wanted to tell me your life path, I'll tell you a little another jewel about yourself. Your individual frequency is a 8. So that means that that's just the date of the month that you were born on. So you're born on the 8th of the month, correct?
How you know? Yes, 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 that's true.
So
Yeah.
let me tell you about your 8 energy, and this is more poignant really than your life path. Your life path is what you're here to learn over the long haul of your life. That's your whole life lesson. Your individual frequency is who you are every day. It's what you live out every day. It's the vibration that you put out every day that you emit. Now you either emitting that on your 8 frequency on the high level or on the low level of your 8 frequency. Okay.
Okay.
So for an 8, you have the power of concentration. That's the business number. It's a old soul number. It's spiritual. It's the number of karma. It's the number of fate. It's ruled by the planet Saturn, the taskmaster. The taskmaster. Okay, so it's the financial number.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pregnancy cycle. It's a power cycle. A harvest
Mm-hmm.
number.
Mm-hmm.
So you're very business minded. You're like director minded. Almost could have been a lawyer,
Or movie
a
director.
banker, a
Yes.
banker. So it doesn't surprise me that you work in finance, and that you were drawn to that because that's your frequency. So that's your frequency when you're living on the high side of your numbers. You have the power of concentration, the
Mm-hmm.
power of focus, the power of the knowledge of material things, the material world.
Yep.
Um, how to
I
handle
juggle
physical
like
things. Yep.
nothing.
I know that's your frequency. So, yep. So that's you as a number 8 person. So also you are a Cancer, right? So you're a water sign, water earth number,
Mm-hmm.
which tells me that you're intuitive, analytical, steadfast pragmatist. Okay.
Yes.
So that's your astronumeric descriptor.
All of those are exact.
Yep, I know. So that's your energy, King. So, I didn't do your whole chart, but when you told me the birthday, I was like, oh, I'll just do a little small thing or whatever, and I'll just
Nice.
say it while we're on here for the King, just to give you that
I
jewel to go
appreciate
away with. So continue to also with your number 8 is the number of legacies. That's why I'm not surprised that it's things that you do that I see you doing, like with Union 215 with the code world and the man code, also with some of the newer things that you
new
have going on
adventures.
that you're involved in.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about those in a second. But it's really the legacy number. The number 8 is you leaving a legacy for generations to come. And usually with the number 8 frequency, you're known more after you've transitioned because of the legacy that you left and you are when you're here.
Right.
So, and it's also tend to be misunderstood. So people probably
Completely.
misunderstand you.
All the time.
And also be careful with with health wise. Be careful with your prescriptions. Make sure that you have the right prescription all the time.
I
Always
don't
go
take
for
any
set.
pills.
Okay, good. But if you ever talk to anyone, always go for a second opinion because 8s are often misdiagnosed because they're misunderstood. So it's a part of the frequency, it's a part of their energy.
That is, you know what? I actually have a procedure coming up that's going to be taking place health wise this month. But
Mm,
I actually did exactly what you said and got two
good,
diagnoses, and
good,
I continue to stay up on it. So
good.
you're absolutely right.
So that tells me that you're living on the high side of your 8, which is good, especially for an 8 frequency because 8 is the number of karma. So, and all karma is
So
cause
let
and
me ask
effect.
you this:
Hmm.
because can I be somebody else's karma? Is that what you mean? Like,
It depends on what they've you can only experience your own karma.
right? But sometimes you can
So
be
so
using
you so
karma
you
for
could
somebody
be
else.
you could be the subject of someone else's karma, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
depending on what they did to you,
Okay.
it could be. But all karma is cause and effect. So
That's
it's
it.
positive
Causality.
karma and negative karma. So whatever you put out is what you get back. If you put
So
out
now you're going
positive,
into
you'll
the
get
12
positive.
universal laws.
Yes.
Yes.
We
Okay.
could go into that, but that not, for the hip hop hour.
Yeah.
You
Not for the
gotta
hip.
come back. If you want to talk about that, we can come back on the Numbers Matter
Okay.
podcast.
Okay.
That airs this week, guys. So you're on BTV, the plethora of TV shows that I bring to the family.
That is
You know
dope.
what I mean? So, I bring a plethora of information, spiritual transformation, cultural preservation and cultural transformation, spiritual ascension. and transformation. So that's what we do over here on BTV. You know how I get down, King.
Amazing. Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's always positive. It's always a positive
Hmm.
meet and greet whenever we link up. And
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy it. And, as far as I don't know, I wanted to do another album,
Hmm.
um, which may be the last album.
Okay.
I've done 17 of them. I've done
Well,
seven.
you know, you've done 17 of them, so you've already reached your number 8. So,
Really? Yeah, that's
yeah,
right. Seven plus one.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know what? I think, well, before you talk about that, before we talk about you doing a last album, because I don't even believe that for 1 minute coming from a number 8 person. I don't think it's
I
gonna
know
be.
it's been hard. It's been hard.
So anyway, talk about this thing that you did last November, the 30 songs. What is it? 30 songs for
I
30
did a
days?
30 for 30 last November where I
Yeah,
dropped a
talk
song
about that.
every day. So I touched on it earlier in the interview when I said that there were so many songs that I've recorded earlier in my career that some of them I never even released. And I just heard a song last night that I don't even remember recording, but the lyrical ability on this record, I'm like, who is this guy? Like I was blowing my own mind listening to
Uh-huh.
me. Like, damn, wow, I can't even rap like that no more. Like it was crazy to hear myself. I don't know when I recorded this song. I don't even know who it is that's on the hook, but the song was
Mhm.
amazing. So, every so often I go through my hard drive and I listen to some of these records and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna drop 30 of these records because it's hundreds of them. Like I probably got more records than Tupac. And last November, I was like, I'm gonna make this Black November, and I'm gonna drop 30 records. And I don't think I dropped all 30 of them. I think I got bored with it around 28, 27, and I started getting
Mhm.
bored with the process of dropping the songs. All of them had the same cover, but I changed the color on the covers for the vibration of the song. So
Mhm.
the song was
Which is
red,
okay because colors are vibrations.
right? So if the song was red, it was like a real sexual song. If the song was purple, it was a motivational, higher frequency song. If the song,
Mhm.
depending on the cover of the cover, the color of the cover, you knew what the vibration of the record was. So I do stuff like that, and I've been doing that since my first album, where all of the song titles made a statement, like the where I'm from, the whole every song title, when you read them all together, it made one statement. So I
Okay.
always try to have like Easter eggs on these albums that people probably not
Mhm.
gonna pay attention to.
Oh.
Like I think All or Nothing, my father used to taxi hack before Uber on Erie Avenue with the brim hats. So on that All or Nothing cover, I was on Erie Avenue with the brim hat, and that was the cover of the album. Say,
Mhm.
representing my father's hustle.
Mhm.
So I always have some type, and then you have Where's the Check One and Where's the Check Two. On the first album cover, I'm in a suit on Where's Check One, and I got all my homies behind me. And on Where's
Mhm.
Check Two, all my homies are gone, and the police are behind me on my ass. And it's just me on the run from the police. And like
Mhm.
that even came fruition. But but every album cover, I tried to make it like that has something to do with a little Easter egg, something that you can figure out later, or if you're in that frequency to even understand what I was talking about on the album cover.
Mhm.
But I guess you
Dope.
would have to know more about me.
Well, that's dope. That's dope. It's a dope concept. So I like it. So talk about a little bit about your new ventures. What are some of the new things that you have coming up and that you're involved in and working on?
So back in maybe 2009, 2010, I made this record called the Royal Space Academy. At first, it was called The Awakening but it had like this futuristic sound to it, where we were traveling through space on this ship, and someone heard it. My folks in Canada, they heard this record because it was on the 30 for 30,
Mhm.
and they was working on something already with that same title,
Mhm.
um, which has to do with like laser tag. So I got involved with it and started using that record and actually cultivating and carving out a market for them in Philadelphia to bring that here, which we're actually looking to do in June out in Ambler.
Mhm.
And the website and everything is up now, where you can go and create a profile. The memberships aren't available yet, but they'll be available soon. And you'll be able
Mhm.
to book laser tag sessions and learn the history of hip hop through the headphones. And this is for ages 8 and up, but you'll learn the history of hip hop while you're playing laser tag by selecting the games. Whereas though you might have the battle of KRS-One and MC Shan, which is the battle of the origin, or the secret wars between Big Daddy Kane and Rakim, which is another battle, right? So there's all these different battles, um, in accordance to what has transcended already in hip hop, all the way up to the Kendrick Lamar and Drake wars.
Mhm.
So this is something that's in the works, and will be available soon.
So I think that's hot. I really like the concept. I think it's dope because I think it gives kids something to look forward to, and it combines things that they love, which is music, and
Mhm.
music is one way. Obviously, we know. Give me 1 second.
But it also forces them to choose a side, right? There's two sides. There's the side of the independent artist, which you have full reign of your creativity and can speak on subjects, or you can join the conglomerate and be a manufactured artist that is only allowed to speak on what their agenda is. So,
Okay.
like when you go to the about page, it tells you about how hip hop is outlawed in the future, and it became a weapon used by the conglomerate that was aimed at the new independent artists. Yes.
Mhm.
That is awesome that you're able to do that. Yeah, in the year 2075, music was no longer just a form of entertainment. It had become a weapon. As the world evolved, so did the industry that governed it. And the music industry stood at the forefront of technological warfare. A powerful conglomerate known as the Federation Conglomerate had monopolized the production of sound frequencies, embedding subliminal messages into tracks that could manipulate emotions, control thoughts, and even incite violence. And when you look at the music of today, it's a lot of violence and hypersexuality, and there's a reason for it, that may be very sinister
Mhm.
in its nature.
That's dope. I love this. I love this. This is right up my alley. And I think it's really cool because I think it can really help the kids. It can help give them an outlet and something positive to do while they're learning about the culture and learning about hip hop. So kudos to you because it's really combining learning and
Mhm.
music.
Activity is,
So
you know,
yeah,
actually gets the kids
physical
out of
activity.
actually giving them physical activity,
Hmm. Yep.
and I am
So
happy
this
to
is
be a part
dope.
of it. Yeah.
This is dope. So, guys, make sure you guys support this Real Space Academy. We will obviously make sure
And
that
then
the
on the
link is there.
adult side, there's some cosplay on the adult side where you can
Cool.
become an apocalyptic warrior in the story of hip hop.
Cool. And that's dope because now it gives the parents something to do too. Because
Along with
a lot of times parents just want to drop the kids off and go do something else. You
right,
stay too. This is a
hmm
family experience, and that's
it
important to
is,
get back to the family unit and
it
get
is
back to
exactly what
doing
you was talking
activities
about.
as a family. Yeah.
Right, exactly what you was talking about, bringing the family closer together,
Hmm.
and actually creating team strategies together to actually, you know, win the game and then play separate situations in the whole experience. Yes.
Absolutely. So I think it's dope. So guys, make sure you guys support the Royal Space Academy. Make sure you support Montana Blak. I'm so honored to have had you on the Hip Hop Hour. This has been a dope conversation, brother. So you know you got to come back once things get more popping going on with the World Space Academy. When you have your first events and all that, we'll have you come back, and whoever else you want to come back to talk about
Okay.
it. To go ahead and promote that, because I am obviously on board with that. The platform and the station is open to you to do that. You're welcome on BTV anytime to bring that back to the
It
family.
has been an honor and a pleasure, and I'm so ecstatic to even be here. Like again, like I've seen you doing this for a while, and the interviews that you have done, you're great at what you do, and you are
Thank you.
appreciated in the community. Even the drives that you have had when you go out and you're in the community, really being an activist in the community. Like I keep an eye
Yes.
on all of that, and we commend you on that.
Yes, thank you, brother. You know, we boots on ground around here,
Yes.
especially when we can be, and especially for the kids, because that's everything that I love and everything that I do it for is for the future generations. So that's what it is. So, guys, make sure you support my brother Montana Blak. You can hit him up at union215@gmail.com. Make sure you go visit the ruralspaceacademy.com. All of those links will be in the description. Any other last words that you want to say before we get out of here, bro?
All I want to say is for the good of all, be the best.
Dope.
That's the Royal Space Academy slogan. Like, may the force be with you.
I love it. For the good of all, may be the best.
Yes.
Kings up and queens up to the family. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hip Hop Hour with Queen Bee and Montana Blak. Make sure you stay tuned for the next Hip Hop Hour. Make sure you stay tuned for all of our shows that we have coming at you. Cultural Reflections, where we have our entrepreneurs, our Hip Hop Hour, where we bring great hip hop artists like this on, and you can see what's going on in the hip hop world. Our numbers matter, and we have a special episode coming up for you of Numbers Matter this week, featuring Dr. Frances Cress Welsing in honor of her birthday coming up. Thank you guys so much for being here. Peace, love, kings and queens up.
No doubt.
Queens up in your